3:17 in the morning. That's when they hit me. I'm dead asleep when this god-awful roar tears through the house, like a freight train parking in my bedroom. My eyes snap open, heart hammering against my ribs. The whole house is shaking, windows rattling in their frames. I stumble to the window, and there they are. 6 industrial generators, diesel monsters, each one the size of a small car, lined up like tanks on the community lawn, right outside my bedroom window. Black smoke belching into the night sky. The smell of burned diesel and hot metal flooding through my screens. And there's a note, zip-tied to my mailbox like some kind of ransom demand. Emergency measure by Homeowners Association. Central heating system damaged. Temporary solution, 48 hours maximum. Signed, Karen Harris, Treasurer. 48 hours of this? The noise is so loud I can't think straight. But here's the thing. I walk over to our community pool, and the water temperature gauge reads 38 degrees. Yesterday it was 72. My grandson Tyler's physical therapy session is in 6 hours, and that kid needs warm water to work his legs. It's the only thing that's helped him since the accident. I'm standing there in my pajamas and work boots, diesel fumes burning my nose, holding this photograph of my son Jake that I keep in my wallet, Tyler's dad, the one who didn't make it back from overseas. This pool was Jake's idea. He said every kid deserves to swim, no matter what. The generators are screaming so loud, my neighbor's dog is howling 3 houses down. You ever feel like the world just stops turning? Like everything you thought you knew about fairness just got fed through a wood chipper? That's where I was at 3:17 a.m. on what should have been a quiet Tuesday. But here's what I didn't know yet. This wasn't about a broken heating system. This was about someone playing games with the wrong guy. The photo of Jake trembles in my hand as another generator kicks into overdrive. The noise is so brutal I can feel it in my teeth. And somewhere in the back of my mind, a little voice is saying, the math doesn't add up. 6 industrial generators to heat 1 community pool for a system that worked perfectly yesterday? Something stinks worse than diesel exhaust. That's when I see her, Karen Harris, standing in her bathrobe on the opposite side of the pool deck, arms crossed, watching me. Even at this distance, even through the smoke and noise, I can see she's smiling. The generators roar louder, and I realize this is just the beginning. 6 a.m. sharp, and the whole neighborhood's lost their minds. Mrs. Henderson from 2 houses down is banging on my front door like the police. Behind her, I can see at least 12 other neighbors marching across the grass. They look like an angry mob, and guess what? I'm the witch they want to burn. Mike, open up. We need to talk. I open the door, and the wave of fury hits me like a slap. Sleep-deprived faces, red eyes, coffee cups clutched like weapons. The generators are still screaming behind them, diesel smoke drifting across the morning like fog. This is insane, Mrs. Henderson shouts over the noise. My baby didn't sleep all night. My husband has a heart condition. The city's already called, adds Tom Reeves from Oak Street. Noise violation, $5,000 fine if this doesn't stop by tonight. And there's Karen Harris standing right behind them. Perfect makeup at 6 in the morning, designer workout clothes. She looks like she slept like a baby while the rest of us suffered through hell. I'm sorry, everyone, she says, and her voice carries that fake sympathy that makes my skin crawl. But Mike insisted on his therapy schedule. The association is legally required to maintain pool temperature per our agreement with his family. Wait, what? I never insisted on anything, I say, but my voice gets drowned out by another neighbor. Just turn it off, someone yells. We'll deal with the pool later. I wish I could, Karen sighs. But Mike's grandson has special needs. We can't discriminate. Our insurance requires us to maintain accessibility. Every word out of her mouth is technically true and completely twisted. Yeah, Tyler needs the therapy. Yeah, we have an agreement about pool access, but I never demanded they destroy the neighborhood to keep it running. This is temporary, Karen continues, until we can afford proper repairs. The central system needs $23,000 of work. $23,000? Yesterday she told me it was a minor issue. How long temporary? Someone asks. Karen shrugs. Could be weeks, maybe months. The crowd turns toward me like a pack of wolves. I can see it in their eyes. I'm the problem. I'm the reason their kids can't sleep. Their dogs are going crazy. Their windows are shaking. Mike, Mrs. Henderson says, and her voice is deadly quiet. Fix this, or we will. They walk away, leaving me standing in my doorway with Karen. She steps closer, and now I can smell her perfume mixing with the diesel fumes. "Tough spot you're in," she says softly. Only I can hear her over the generators. All these angry neighbors, city fines, bad publicity. "What do you want, Karen?" She smiles, not the fake public smile, the real one, cold as winter. "I want you to withdraw your complaint about the pool maintenance contract. Stop asking questions about our billing. Mind your own business." So, that's what this is about. Last month I'd noticed some weird charges on our association fees, asked to see the books, started poking around in contracts that didn't add up. "And if I don't?" Well, she gestures toward the generators. Accidents happen, systems break down, sometimes for a very long time. A car door slams across the street, more neighbors getting ready for work, shooting angry looks in my direction. The generators hit a new note, somehow even louder. Tyler's therapy appointment is in 2 hours. The kid's been looking forward to it all week. First time he's smiled since the accident. "You have until tonight to decide," Karen says. "But remember, Mike, sometimes the cure is worse than the disease." She walks away, and I'm left standing there with the taste of diesel in my mouth and a choice that feels like no choice at all. The photograph of Jake is still in my pocket. What would he do? That's when I notice something. Old Frank Thompson from the corner house is standing in his garden, staring at the generators. Frank's been an electrician for 40 years, and he's frowning like something doesn't make sense. Maybe I'm not as alone as Karen wants me to think. Frank Thompson catches up with me as I'm walking Tyler to the pool for his therapy session. The generators are still roaring, but at least in daylight they don't seem quite as monstrous. Tyler's gripping my hand tight, nervous about the noise. "Mike," Frank says quietly, glancing around to make sure no one's listening. "Can we talk?" I help Tyler into the warm water first. The kid's face lights up when he feels the temperature. 74 degrees, just right for his exercises. At least something's working. "What's on your mind, Frank?" He pulls out his phone, shows me some photos. Close-ups of the generator connections, wiring, control panels. "I walked around those units this morning," he whispers. "Been an electrician 42 years. What I saw doesn't make sense." "What do you mean?" "Those generators aren't connected properly. They're overloading the main system on purpose, creating feedback that's frying the central heating." My stomach drops. "You're saying they're causing the problem they're supposed to fix?" "I'm saying whoever hooked these up knew exactly what they were doing. This isn't temporary. This is sabotage." Tyler calls out from the pool. "Grandpa, watch this!" He's doing his leg exercises, pushing against the water resistance. The smile on his face is worth everything. "Can you prove it?" I ask Frank. He looks around nervously. "That's the problem. My pension comes through the association's group insurance. Karen's husband manages the plan. I speak up. I could lose everything." Of course, Karen's got everyone boxed in somehow. "But," Frank continues, "if someone else happened to fix the wiring overnight, purely by coincidence, the central system would probably start working again." He slides his phone back in his pocket. "Funny how electrical problems sometimes fix themselves, you know?" 3 hours later, I'm at City Hall trying to file a noise complaint. And that's when I meet Inspector Carlos Ramirez. Turns out the city's been getting calls all morning, not just about noise. "Those generators aren't legal," he tells me. "Wrong permits, dangerous setup. I should shut them down immediately." "So why don't you?" He sighs, taps his clipboard. "Association claims it's an emergency repair. Federal disability law says I can't interfere with accessibility accommodations without a formal hearing. Could take weeks. More legal traps. Karen's thought of everything." "But," Carlos adds, lowering his voice, "if the emergency suddenly resolved itself, well, then it's not my problem anymore." He hands me his card. "Call me when that central system starts working. I'll be very interested to see what caused the miraculous recovery." I drive home thinking about Frank's photos and Carlos's hints. 2 allies, both scared to act directly. But maybe they don't have to. The petition against me hit social media that afternoon. 47 signatures in 4 hours. Stop Mike's noise pollution. Someone set up a whole website. Professional photos of angry neighbors, testimonials about sleepless children, property values dropping. Karen's not just playing chess, she's playing speed chess, and she's 3 moves ahead. But when I check the community Facebook group, I notice something interesting. The petition organizer is listed as Concerned Citizens of Maple Creek, generic name, stock photo profile picture. Real grassroots anger doesn't look this organized. Tyler's back in the pool for his evening session, working with his physical therapist, Sarah. The generators are somehow louder now, like they're ramping up for the night shift. Mr. Mike, Sarah says as she helps Tyler with his stretches, I've worked with a lot of families. This setup seems excessive for pool heating. What do you mean? I mean my nephew's an HVAC tech. Says you could heat this entire pool with one small unit. 6 industrial generators? That's enough power for a shopping mall. Everyone sees it. Everyone knows something's wrong, but Karen's got them all trapped in their own little boxes of fear. The sun sets behind the generator smoke, and I realize I'm running out of time. The city deadline is tomorrow. The neighbors are ready to lynch me, and Tyler keeps asking why everyone's so angry. But Frank's photos are still on my mind, and Carlos gave me his direct number. Maybe it's time to stop playing defense. The generators hit their evening roar as I walk back to the house, and I can swear Karen's watching me from her window. She thinks she's won. She's about to learn different. Midnight. Frank and I meet behind the maintenance shed like a couple of teenagers sneaking out past curfew. The generators are still screaming, but somehow the noise feels different when you're about to do something about it. Frank's carrying a small toolbox and wearing dark clothes. I've got a flashlight and more nerves than I've had since my army days. You sure about this? He whispers. You sure about those photos? He nods. Someone rewired the grounding system, forced the generators to create electrical interference with the main heating unit. It's actually genius in a twisted way. We approach the first generator. Up close, these things are monsters. Hot metal, diesel fumes, enough electrical current running through them to fry a grown man if you touch the wrong wire. Frank opens the control panel with a screwdriver. There, see that green wire? Should be connected to that terminal, but it's rerouted through this relay box, same with the others. How long to fix it? 10 minutes per unit, but if someone catches us, then we better work fast. Frank starts with the first generator, while I keep watch. My heart's pounding so hard I can feel it in my ears. Every shadow looks like Karen creeping up on us. Every sound could be security, police, angry neighbors with pitchforks. I got it, Frank whispers. One down. We move to the second unit. Frank's hands work quickly in the flashlight beam. Green wire, terminal, bypass the illegal relay. Simple when you know what you're looking for. That's when we hear footsteps. I kill the flashlight. We freeze behind the generator. Someone's walking across the pool deck, shoes clicking on concrete. I know you're out there, Mike. Karen's voice cuts through the engine noise like a knife. She's maybe 20 feet away, just around the corner of the generator. Funny thing about security cameras, they see everything. My blood turns to ice water. We're caught. Frank's face in the darkness looks like he's about to have a heart attack. Of course, Karen continues, cameras sometimes malfunction, especially during power surges. Amazing how often that happens with all this electrical interference. Wait, is she helping us? Would be terrible if something happened to those recordings. System glitch, maybe. These generators cause so many problems. I hear her footsteps walking away, then her voice calling from much farther off. Everything looks secure over here. No problems at all. Frank and I look at each other in the darkness. Neither of us says a word, but we both start moving faster. Generator 3, green wire, terminal, bypass. Generator 4, same thing. My hands are steady now, army training kicking in. Frank's working like a man half his age. Generator 5, generator 6. That's it, Frank whispers. Now we just need to restart the central system. We walk over to the main control panel for the pool heating. Frank flips a few switches, adjusts some dials. For a moment, nothing happens. Then, like magic, the system hums to life. Quiet, efficient, normal. How long before it heats up? I ask. 20 minutes, maybe 30. We pack up the tools and walk back toward our houses like nothing happened. Just 2 neighbors out for a midnight stroll. The generators are still running, but now they're not interfering with anything, just wasting fuel and making noise. By 6 a.m., the central system is running perfectly. Pool temperature is back to 74 degrees. Tyler's morning therapy session happens without a single problem. And that's when Inspector Carlos shows up. Got a call about miraculous recovery, he says, checking his clipboard. System working fine now? Like a dream, I tell him. Interesting. Mind if I take a look at those generators? He spends an hour examining the units, checking connections, taking photos. When he's done, his face is grim. Mr. Patterson, these generators were illegally connected to interfere with your main system. Someone committed deliberate sabotage. No kidding? I'm shutting them down immediately. Criminal investigation to follow. The silence when those generators die is the most beautiful sound I've heard in years. Birds singing, traffic humming, normal life returning to Maple Creek. But Karen's not done yet, not even close. That afternoon, she calls an emergency meeting of the Homeowners Association. Every resident gets a formal notice. Financial crisis, immediate assessment required. Pool facility may close permanently. The meeting's tonight, and according to the agenda, she's going to blame everything on unauthorized repairs and demand I pay for the entire investigation. Frank catches me as I'm reading the notice. She's cornered now. Dangerous animals do unpredictable things. What's the worst she can do? He shakes his head. With Karen, there is no worst. There's just whatever she hasn't thought of yet. The generators are gone, but somehow I feel like the real battle's just starting. 7 p.m. sharp, and the community center is packed. 80-plus residents crammed into folding chairs, and the mood feels like a lynch mob that's lost its rope. Karen's at the front table with her presentation slides ready. Professional setup. Charts and graphs about emergency expenses, repair costs, legal liability. She's wearing a navy blue suit that screams, "Trust me, I'm competent." I'm sitting in the back row, and I can feel the stares. These people spent 3 nights listening to diesel engines scream outside their windows, and in their minds, it's all my fault. Thank you all for coming, Karen begins. As you know, we've faced an unprecedented crisis this week. Sabotage of our emergency heating system has cost the association $6,800 in generator rental alone. Sabotage. She's got brass, I'll give her that. More concerning, she continues, is the criminal investigation. Inspector Ramirez has informed me that someone illegally tampered with association property. This puts our insurance coverage at risk. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Angry murmurs. The repair costs, legal fees, and potential lawsuits could bankrupt our community fund. We need an emergency assessment of $500 per household, effective immediately. $500 per household, times 96 units. That's $48,000. Mrs. Henderson raises her hand. Karen, you said the person responsible should pay, not the whole community. Unfortunately, the responsible party refuses to accept liability, refuses to cover the costs his actions created. Every eye in the room turns toward me. The temperature feels like it's dropping 10 degrees. Tom Reeves stands up. Mike, you gonna say something, or just let us all pay for your mess? Here's the moment. Stand up and fight, or let Karen bury me. I walk to the front of the room. The silence is thick enough to cut with a knife. You want to talk about sabotage? I say, pulling out my phone. Let's talk about sabotage. I show Frank's photos on the big screen, close-ups of the illegal wiring, the deliberately rerouted connections, the relay boxes that created interference. Those generators weren't fixing our heating system. They were designed to break it. Karen's face doesn't change, but I catch something flicker in her eyes, just for a second. Mr. Patterson, she says smoothly. Those are just pictures of normal electrical connections. You're not qualified to interpret technical specifications. You're right, I'm not. I look toward the back of the room. But Frank Thompson is. Frank stands up slowly, 42 years of electrical experience walking to the front of the room. Those connections were sabotage, he says quietly. Professional sabotage. Someone with advanced electrical knowledge deliberately created system interference. The room erupts in whispers. Furthermore, Frank continues, the central heating system never needed repair. It was artificially disabled by the generator interference. Soon as we corrected the wiring, it worked perfectly. Karen's composure cracks just a little. Mr. Thompson, are you claiming association officers committed deliberate vandalism? I'm claiming someone did. Someone who understood exactly how to make it look like equipment failure. That's when Inspector Carlos walks into the back of the room. Perfect timing. Sorry I'm late, he calls out. Just finished processing the criminal evidence. Every head turns. Karen's face goes pale. What evidence? Someone asks. Carlos walks to the front, badge visible. The generator sabotage was planned and executed by someone with intimate knowledge of the association's electrical systems. We've identified fingerprints, tool marks, and planning documents. I watch Karen's hands. They're trembling just slightly. However, Carlos continues, we've also identified the individuals who corrected the sabotage. Their actions saved the community approximately $15,000 in unnecessary repairs. The room is dead silent now. So, Mrs. Henderson says slowly, someone sabotaged our system to create a fake emergency, then charged us thousands to fix a problem they caused? That's what the evidence suggests, Carlos confirms. All eyes turn to Karen. She's still standing at the front table, but her presentation slides suddenly look like evidence at a trial. This is ridiculous, she says, but her voice has lost that confident edge. You're all listening to conspiracy theories. Karen, Tom Reeves says, did you know the generators were wired wrong? I'm not an electrician. But your husband is. Dead silence. The kind of silence that comes right before everything explodes. Karen looks around the room, and for the first time since I've known her, she looks trapped. I think, she says carefully, we should postpone this meeting until we have more information. No, Mrs. Henderson says, standing up. I think we should vote, right now. All in favor of investigating Karen's role in this mess? Hands start going up, slowly at first, then faster. 20 hands, 40, 60. Karen's staring at a room full of people who trusted her, and they're all voting against her. This vote is out of order, she says desperately. Actually, says a voice from the side door, it's perfectly legal. Everyone turns. Standing in the doorway is Martin Black, the independent electrician I called that afternoon. He's carrying a thick folder of documents. Sorry I'm late, he says. Just finished the full system analysis you requested, Mike. Karen's face goes white as paper. What analysis? Someone asks. Martin smiles. The one that proves this whole crisis was engineered from the start. The trap is closing, and Karen knows it, but cornered animals are always the most dangerous. That's when she plays her last card. Karen straightens up like someone just poured steel into her backbone. The trapped look disappears, replaced by something cold and calculated. You want to talk about evidence, she says, pulling out her own phone. Let's talk about evidence. She swipes to a video and holds it up so everyone can see. Security camera footage, black and white, but clear enough. This is from Tuesday night, 2:47 a.m. On the screen, Frank and me, working on the generators. My flashlight beam, Frank's tools. Clear as day, we're tampering with association property. The room goes dead silent. Criminal trespass, vandalism, destruction of emergency equipment. Karen's voice is steady now, confident. While children and elderly residents suffered through a crisis these two men created. My stomach drops through the floor. How did she get this footage? She said the cameras malfunctioned. You see, Karen continues, Mr. Patterson and Mr. Thompson didn't fix anything. They broke a functioning emergency system, then lied about it to cover their tracks. The crowd is staring at me like I just confessed to murder. Mrs. Henderson looks betrayed. Tom Reeves is shaking his head in disgust. Karen, I start, but she cuts me off. The generators were working perfectly until these two sabotaged them. Everything they've told you tonight is a lie designed to cover up their crimes. Inspector Carlos steps forward. Ma'am, that's not consistent with our investigation. Your investigation was based on false information provided by the perpetrators themselves. Karen shoots back. This video shows exactly what happened. She's flipped the entire script. Everyone who was ready to lynch her 5 minutes ago is now glaring at me. So here's what's going to happen, Karen says, back in full control. Mr. Patterson will resign from the association board. He'll pay full restitution for the generator rental, the investigation costs, and damages. And he'll sign an agreement never to interfere with association business again. And if I don't? Karen smiles. Then this video goes to the district attorney. Criminal charges, civil lawsuit. Your grandson's therapy privileges revoked for safety violations. Tyler, she's threatening Tyler. The room is watching me like I'm a bug under a microscope. These people went from supporting me to hating me in 30 seconds. Karen played them perfectly. I need time to think, I say. You have until tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., sign the agreement or face the consequences. People start filing out of the meeting. Nobody looks at me. Nobody says a word. Frank tries to catch my eye, but I can see he's as stunned as I am. Karen packs up her presentation materials like nothing happened. Just another successful business meeting. "Oh, Mike," she calls as I'm heading for the door. "One more thing." I turn around. That video has copies in 3 different locations, just in case you get any ideas about making it disappear. She's thought of everything, again. I drive home through streets that suddenly feel hostile. Every house I pass, I wonder if the people inside think I'm a criminal now. Wonder if they'll call the police if they see me near the pool. Tyler's waiting up when I get home, excited to tell me about his progress in therapy. His legs are getting stronger. The warm water exercises are working. "Grandpa, Sarah says I might be able to use crutches soon. Real crutches, not the wheelchair." I look at this kid who's fought so hard to walk again, and I realize what Karen's really threatening. Not just my reputation, not just money. She's threatening to take away Tyler's hope. That's when I pull out the photograph of Jake, Tyler's dad, the one who died fighting for what's right. What would he do? He'd fight, no matter the cost. I call Martin Black, the independent electrician. "Martin, that system analysis you mentioned, how detailed is it?" "Detailed enough to prove everything. The sabotage, the cover-up, the fake emergency. But Mike, if they've got video of you fixing it..." "They do, but here's what I'm thinking." I explain my plan. It's risky. It's probably stupid. It could backfire spectacularly. But it's the only play I have left. "Mike," Martin says quietly, "that's either brilliant or insane. Sometimes there's no difference." I hang up and look at Tyler, already asleep on the couch with his therapy workbook on his chest. Kid's been drawing pictures of himself walking again. Karen thinks she's won, thinks she's got me cornered with no way out. Tomorrow morning, she's going to learn the difference between winning a battle and winning a war. Because I'm done playing defense. Time to show this community what real sabotage looks like. 9:55 a.m. The community center is packed again, but this time it feels different. Word spread overnight that I was supposed to confess and resign. People came to watch the execution. Karen's at her usual spot at the front table, looking like she just won the lottery. She's got her resignation papers ready, her settlement agreement printed out. All I have to do is sign and crawl away. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announces, "Mr. Patterson has requested this meeting to address his actions and make things right with the community." I walk to the front of the room, carrying a single manila folder. Tyler's in the 3rd row with his physical therapist, Sarah, watching his grandpa either save face or destroy himself completely. "You're right, Karen. I did request this meeting to make things right." I open the folder and pull out a thick stack of documents. But first, let me show everyone what making things right actually looks like. I hold up Martin's electrical analysis, official letterhead, professional diagrams, the works. This is a complete forensic analysis of our pool heating system, conducted by a licensed electrical engineer. It proves the sabotage was planned 3 months in advance. Karen's smile falters just a little. "More interesting," I continue. "It shows the sabotage required intimate knowledge of our specific electrical layout. Someone with access to original blueprints. Someone who knew exactly which circuits to target." I flip to the next page. Someone who ordered the generators 2 weeks before the emergency happened. Now Karen's not smiling at all. According to the rental company records, the generators were reserved on August 15th, but our heating system didn't break down until September 2nd. How do you reserve emergency equipment for an emergency that hasn't happened yet? Murmurs start rippling through the crowd. People are doing the math. Then there's this. I hold up another document. The insurance claim Karen filed, dated August 20th, 2 weeks before the emergency, requesting coverage for anticipated electrical system failure due to aging infrastructure. The murmurs get louder. But my favorite part, I say, walking closer to Karen's table, is this receipt. I slap down a piece of paper right in front of her. Payment to Advanced Electrical Systems, August 10th, $7,000 for custom generator interface installation. Signed by Karen Harris, Homeowners Association Treasurer. Karen's face goes white. You see, folks, Karen didn't just know about the sabotage. She paid for it. She planned it. She executed it. Then she tried to frame me for fixing it. The room explodes, voices shouting, chairs scraping, people standing up demanding answers. "This is fabricated," Karen shouts back. "Fake documents. He's trying to—" "Karen," Inspector Carlos stands up from the back of the room. "We'll need you to come with us." 2 more officers walk in behind him. Real police, not security guards. "You're under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and conspiracy. You have the right to remain silent." The crowd goes dead quiet as they handcuff the woman who's run this community like her personal kingdom for 3 years. As they're leading her out, Karen looks back at me with pure hatred in her eyes. "This isn't over," she says. "Yeah, it is." The door closes behind them, and suddenly the room feels 10 times bigger, like someone just let all the air back in. Mrs. Henderson stands up slowly. "Mike, I owe you an apology. We all do." "No," I say, looking around the room. "We all learned something about trust, about asking questions, about not letting fear make our decisions." Tom Reeves raises his hand. "So, what happens now? Who runs the association?" "We do, all of us, the way it was supposed to work from the beginning." Tyler wheels himself up to the front of the room. "Grandpa, does this mean the pool stays open?" I kneel down next to his wheelchair and pull out the photograph of his dad, the one I've been carrying through this whole mess. "Your dad always said every kid deserves to swim, no matter what." "Yeah, buddy, the pool stays open." I hand him the photograph. "But this belongs to you now. You're going to need it for the next fight." "What next fight?" I look around the room at 80-plus neighbors who just learned they can't trust authority blindly, can't let bullies run their lives, and can't stay silent when something's wrong. "There's always a next fight, Tyler, but now we know how to win them." 6 months later, Tyler's walking on crutches. The community pool has the best heating system in the county, and Karen Harris is serving 18 months for fraud. But the biggest change? We hold our association meetings monthly now. Everyone comes. Everyone asks questions. Everyone pays attention. Because sometimes the only way to fix a broken system is to break it completely first. And sometimes the people trying to help you are the ones standing in the shadows, waiting for someone brave enough to turn on the lights. The generators are gone, but their lesson remains. When someone creates a crisis to sell you a solution, ask yourself who benefits from keeping you afraid. Trust me on that one.